that there were no excuses whatsoever. In this industry of network marketing, people only fail for one of two reasons. I need you to write this down because this is very important to understand. It's very important to hold ourselves accountable, right? There's a lot of different excuses, Val, why people don't succeed. A lot of excuses. I can come up with 1,000 excuses, but there's only two reasons. The first reason is that you were never told what to do. And that happens, right? You get signed up by somebody, they don't tell you about the system, they don't plug you in, you just don't get the information that you need to become successful. That's one reason that people fail. The second reason that people fail, and it's the most prevalent, is that people were told what to do, but they just didn't do it. Sunshine, I didn't mean to step on nobody's toes. I know it's hard to hear that sometimes. On this call, we're going to share with you exactly what you need to do to become successful. It's up to you to take notes. It's up to you to study those notes. And more importantly, it's up to you to implement the notes that you've taken tonight. So I hope everybody's ready to rock and roll tonight, because I have the honor of bringing on a gentleman that I've known for over 20 years. I've watched this gentleman in all different phases of life. I've watched him at his highest. I've watched him at his lowest. But the one thing that I respect the most is that during his lowest point, his belief level and his work ethics have taken him right to the top. Not just for himself, but because he has a passion for helping other people. He's down to earth, loves having fun. This gentleman knows 110% of the information that you're going to need to become successful. And this gentleman in this company is making some serious income. So if that's a passion of yours, he's going to show you exactly how to do it. So get some pads together, get some paper together, get ready to take copious notes as we bring to the line Mr. Jason L. Scott I. Mr. Scott, are you there?
Yes, sir. Absolutely on the line. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Absolutely, sir. Take it away.
Excellent, excellent. Listen, always super excited to be a part of anything that you have going on, brother. You're such an amazing leader yourself. You just said a lot about myself, but guys, this gentleman is an amazing leader, coach, mentor himself. He and I have been business partners over the years. We start off as him sponsoring me in companies. We've evolved to other times. So I sponsor him other times that we became partners in the same company. But the thing is, guys, one thing I can say is we learned a lot from each other. We came to the industry to learned of this industry from different leaders, and we was able to combine those strategies and techniques to coming together and being under leadership. Now, let me be clear. Under leadership of people who, when we saw them speaking, we saw them training, they had such a high level of excellence that everything about us after that point, we was like, we got to be like that. It was, Sunita, I saw many people over the years, right? Many people, Brittany, blacks, whites, Asians. My first organization was an amalgamation. It was an amalgamation of all types of people coming together, all right? But when we got a chance to be a part of this organization where we saw a lot of other African-Americans, people of African descent, people who look like us, people who were in suits and ties, and they were always like Mr. Smith and how you doing, Miss Dansler, and everybody was speaking with using last names and speaking of power, and everybody was speaking in articulate tones and everything else, and everybody on the stage, Elisa, clasping their fingers as they talking. I'm like, yo, I said, these guys are dope. And it was an amazing thing, Nikki, to see these leaders speak. And one of the things that makes me who I am is because they used to use this word, right? They used this word, they used to call it entertainment. You guys know how I like to joke and have fun? They used to entertain us, but they would train us at the same time. That's where I got that from. The entertainment comes from me seeing, they said, because I didn't always remember all the things they was talking about, but I remember the stories. I remember the things they was doing. I remember all the time they was having, and I was learning through, remember the 3 phases or 3 steps or 4 of this based off of the trainings that they was doing, but they became a pillar of excellence. And in that excellence, guys, I was able to use that myself. Smith was able to use that himself and apply it to many areas of our lives. where we are right now, we're in this space, right? In space and time for this vision that we have, that we all have to align ourselves with the same vision. We have a window, write this down, we have a window of opportunity. In this window of opportunity, even though people will make money in this company for years to come, there's a window of opportunity that you have a chance to be at the forefront of the change that's going to happen in this company and in the world. There's no hype to this. This is a real thing. Every company, Amazon, they will talk about when they used to be in the garage and they used to do stuff, and they'll talk about all the things they used to do way back. You hear them on the stages, people be talking, they'll be like, oh my God, it was crazy. It would have been great to be there. Warren Buffett has a group called they just call them Buffett Millionaire. They like the Buffett Billionaires. There were people who trusted his strategies, and people don't know Warren Buffett is one of the richest people in the world. If you're not sure who he is, just Google him. All right. And he created this group called the Buffett. When I read a book about it years ago, they were called the Buffett Millionaires, but they're the Buffett Billionaires now. They were just the same group that whatever he would do, he would invest in things. Then he started his organization. And I think, matter of fact, Mr. Smith, if you look at it, it's maybe called like the Hathaway Group or something like that now. It's something like that that's called that, right? Hathaway Group or something like that. But they've been investing for years together. Now, the reason why that's important is this, April. The work that we do together, we do this thing successfully together. Many of us will have an opportunity as time goes on, we never know, that the right things may show up at the right time. And the stronger we get together as an organization and unit of people, some of us may become stronger as business, as friends, partners, and opportunities may present themselves. We don't know what we may invest in. We don't know what we may do. You don't know. You never know what opportunities may come up. You know what I'm saying? You just don't know. In this industry, some leaders, they start organizations together. They start businesses together outside of their traditional business. They'll buy properties together. All types of things that people start to do, and we don't know. But we operate at this level of excellence so that we can, and this level of trust, because this is business. And sometimes you don't know who to trust in business, or they can be family members, who to trust in life. But I do know that business is business, and with contracts and other things like that, your stuff be protected. But I just know that as we move forward, we don't know what's going to be available for us in the future. But I know what's available for us right now. And right now is opportunity for us to be positioned so that one day we too can tell the stories of how, when we got involved in this company, how we was able to shake the entire industry up. I'm telling you guys, everything that you guys are seeing right now, it's not a hyped up thing, man. It really came from us meeting with the CEO. And when I got a chance to fly there, I'm telling him, like, yo, we about to, this is what we're going to do. We're going to change this thing. We're going to put 100,000 people in the company. And in my mindset, I was like, I'm like looking at this thing. I'm like, man, everything is firing on all cylinders. And if everybody see it the way I see it, we're going to change our financial situations, our economic situations. Our lifelong dreams are going to be accomplished and achieved. I could really see it. It wasn't just a hype thing, Julissa. It's a real thing. As I was sitting down asking questions, and as I was there and I'm doing stuff, and again, it was a new level of evaluation for myself. Right, I've learned a long time ago, Peggy, how to evaluate a company. Right, I got video that I did 10 years ago, still on YouTube, which talks about 7 ways how to evaluate a company. And when we went to Live Smart 360, I did that video back then. Sit with the VP of Sales. These are how you evaluate a company. And I was talking about the 7 things, but I learned them from one of our previous mentors, a gentleman who's earned like $1 million a month. So I learned how to when we took that training class. So I've learned how to evaluate. So as I was evaluating this company, I'm like, this fits the categories for everything that we've all been looking for and asking for. But the most important thing is the timing of it. Most companies that I looked at, they were before, they were after. They've met a lot of things, and it was like right after the sweet spot or before it. And we might have missed something. It might have been too early, and the company wasn't able to sustain the growth, and it fell apart. May have been too late, and we still made money, but the ones who were at the top of it was that was always able to earn more income, and people came and still made millions. But the ones who was at the top, they lived an amazing lifestyle. They never had to work the way we had to work. We're in a position to where we are positioned that as we work for generations and years to come, people are going to be joining this company. And when they come, they're going to be in your organization. And the work that you do, that's why you got to get good at this stuff now, so you can learn to teach people and give them the very best of yourself. Because I want people to win. The more people win, the more stabilized your income is going to be. The more you help other people take care of their families, your family's going to be taken care of. They say it all the time. You help enough people get what they want, you're going to get yours in the process. That's a real thing. You help enough people get what they want, you will get yours in the process. But you have to be willing to do the necessary work. We said we're going to be committed for 90 days, launching this business. We did it as a personal team. We officially launched in July. Some of you guys came on board when we did the official launch in August. So the official launch is like August, September, October. Pre-launch is in July. So August, what's that? July, August, September, October is like 90 days of the official launch. We are only 2 months in of the official launch. Ask yourself, did you give up already? Ask yourself, have you been going in the way you're supposed to go in? Ask yourself, have you been participating the way that you're supposed to participate? Ask yourself, are you making the calls where you should make the calls? Are you speaking on the calls where you should speak on the calls? Are you reading the books that we say read? Are you listen? And this is the thing, guys, listen, it's a practice. I used to always talk about keys, all right? It's 5 things. I used to always talk about these 5 keys of getting unstuck. I've been training on that for years. It's one of my keynote speak talks that I do when I speak around the world. One of my keynotes that I speak, I have several keynotes. One of them is the 5 keys. I just call them 5 keys, but I call them the 5 practices of getting unstuck. Unstuck from your situation, current situation. That's why I started learning a lot of things that I coach on when it comes with identity and awareness and all this other stuff that I coach on. But it came from me understanding that these keys that I had. But one thing I understood about keys as time had gone on, Patrice, and time that has gone on, Corey and Sneepa and Latanya, the keys can get lost. Keys can get broke off into the door. Saying all type of things can happen with keys. You can lose them. So I started saying that these are things that we practice. See, but the thing about practice is this. You ever heard the phrase they say practice makes perfect? You ever heard them say that phrase, practice makes perfect? Well, practice doesn't just make perfect. Practice makes permanent. Write that down. That means if you're practicing the wrong thing, you will permanently do the wrong thing. If you're practicing the right thing, you will permanently do the right thing. So it doesn't just make perfect, it makes permanent. So when you're practicing these things, it becomes a permanent way of how you start to look at certain things. Like Mr. Smith, he's been doing he'll do a call a certain way for so long, and how he speaks a certain way that he's been practiced so long that it's permanently ingrained that when he talks a certain way, it's going to come out perfect that way all the time. Even myself, certain things that you guys know, let me tell you why I do this all the time, just so you can understand. When I would say, hey guys, welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey guys, my name is Jason L. Scott I. I'm originally from the projects of the Bronx, New York. All my life, like everybody else, I've always believed that I was truly destined for something great. And many times I used to always go, how many people here believe that they were truly destined for something great as well? And other people raise their hands. And I say, great means great. In order to become great, you must first be willing to step into your greatness. Reason why I would start that way is because I'm an introverted person by nature, and I get nervous when I start speaking. My mouth get dry. If I didn't have something to start with, I didn't know what the heck I was going to say or do. So I had to practice to make a permanent way of how when I walk out. So there, because once I start, and everybody start not like Val nod right there, I'm like, okay, now I'm good. If I be like, hey, what's going on, everybody? Now I don't know what to say. Now I'm nervous. Now you start panicking. Now you start trying to juggle. Whatever you can do comes out because now you're nervous and you're scared. So I've learned to make a way of how I introduce myself, a permanent thing, but I practice it so it can be perfect in how I introduce. So it gives me the ability to start my process. When we're on these calls and I ask you to speak and actually do everything, that's practicing. When I say unmute your mic and talk, that's giving you practice. That's giving you practice and giving you authority and helping you understand that once you speak, you're still going to be alive. Because most people believe that once I speak, what if I speak and I'm not going to lie? I'm not going to, because most people, because you do know they say that public speaking is the number one fear that people have, and then the fear of death. So they basically mean that people would rather die before they speak. They'd rather die than speak in front of people. But the fear of speaking is a major thing that people have. I got you. And listen, it's all good. You know what I'm saying? But see, that's been a lot of us. But being broke, like, you know, it's been something that may have been a constant, but that ain't us either. Nobody want to be broke. Nobody want to struggle. We don't want to do that. So we have to trade. We have to be willing to trade off something for something. You have to trade off that fear. You have to trade off that I don't know what to say. Who cares? Say something. When we first started doing these presentations, I was super awful. I was talking, I didn't know what I was saying, you know, because Candaceberg Davis was talking first for a minute, then by the time I had to talk, I'm like, I don't know what I'm saying. I was nervous, scared, I was forgetting everything. So I started putting like a bunch of cards all over. I started writing stuff everywhere around me so I can have it in front of the computer, someplace around me, in front of me. That's a keynote giving you guys. I write things out and have it right here. So when I'm talking, I can look at it and remember the house of brands, cryptocurrencies. So I started putting things around to help me. You got me? That's a keynote. So if you're nervous, get you some cards and don't be afraid to take you some notes. And when you start talking, if you have to have it in front of you as a reminder, if you have to have it near you as a reminder, you have it in front of you as a reminder, because you got to practice and start somewhere. Am I making sense? The thing is this, LaTanya, everybody on this call has the ability to become 5- and 6-figure income earners. And I really want that for you. But you have to want it for yourself enough. You have to find something inside yourself that's going to be so strong that you're willing to do whatever it takes in order for you to feed your family. It has to be a why or something you lock into so strong that no matter whatever, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. And if you keep allowing yourself to go, well, I'm nervous, I'm scared, I'm afraid. Nah, don't allow yourself to be there. It's okay. Have fear and do it anyway. You know why I joke all the time? Because I joke this when I start things off, because as an introverted way, it's one of my mechanisms that I do to lighten the mood so I can make it feel like people are my friends and my family when I start to speak. So I would make jokes and do stuff to get people so I can get comfortable. Because if I'm uncomfortable, my mind now while I'm talking, I'm thinking too much. So I would just make jokes and I learned to just be myself. I've learned that when you just be yourself, that's what's this is leadership mastery. And this stuff that I'm saying to you guys is in preparation for what I'm going to talk about next. But I got to just have a real conversation without all the quotes, without all the other things that sound good, for people to understand that we all are the same. And we're still early enough in this game that any given time, a person can just say, put me in the game, coach. I want to be in the game. I want to play in the game. I want to play in the game. What'd you say, Smith, the other day? What'd you text me?
I said, put me in, coach.
You know what I'm saying? He said, put me in the game. I'm like, I got you. And then matter of fact, I said, okay. And then I did the call. He was like, I thought I was supposed to be in the, because I forgot. I'm like, oh, my bad, bro. You in the next one. I'm going to make sure you play in the next game. Sometimes it was but the thing, but he didn't just go, man, he said he's gonna put me in. I can't believe he ain't put me in. How can he not put me in? You can't let yourself be in a space of nonsense like that right now. I've told you guys already. I was honest with you. I told you I have been battling, I've been working through challenges, like mental challenges, like stuff with COVID and things like that. I'm very forgetful. I spent a lot of money, even since we joined this company, I spent a lot of money to continue to have this conversation right here that I'm having. I've been going back and forth. I've just this week alone, I spent about $3,000 just for stuff to make sure I can continue doing what I'm doing right now, because I want to operate at my highest capacity to help people, to be able to think, to be able to focus, to be able to remember, to be able to stay on track. But that's me, because I want this for my people. And whatever I'm earning, I'm willing to invest in myself so I can be able to operate at the capacity mentally for the people. But I've been real with you guys. So that means sometimes you may ask me to do a thing. Now, let me be honest with you. COVID ain't the only reason I'm that way. A part of me is that way. I just forgetful. That's my personality style. I have ADHD. That's a real thing in the real world. I'm diagnosed with that right there. Now, again, people like to say, don't say what it is, but it's what it is. ADHD is a real thing, attention deficit. It's a brain function. It's like, you can't control it. It's just what it is. You can put things in place that you can learn how to work in these things, but it's a real thing. So let me tell you what Mr. Smith does, because he knows that, and what Nikki do. They'll go, reminder, still send that for a PowerPoint. They don't go, well, you told me I was waiting, you ain't send it. They be like, oh, let me get on it right now. Because this is what I do, Patrice. I'll be like, okay, Joe Smith, I'm gonna send that right now. As soon as I get off the phone call, a butterfly fly by, I'm like, ooh, look at a pretty butterfly. And I didn't chase the butterfly. And by the time I come back, and I started doing something else. And then all of a sudden the text would come to me like, don't forget, and Nikki be like, no, oh yeah, I'm doing it right now, Nikki. Here you go. It's just what it is. Listen, I'm being honest. I wish that I could be like Mr. Smith and say 1, 2, 3. Hold on a second, guys. I gotta take care of something real quick. 4, 5, 6. If I say, I'm gonna say 1, I'm gonna say 4, I'm gonna say 2, I'm gonna say, hold on a second, come back. And be like, what was I saying when I left? Somebody bring me up to speed. It's just what it is. But I'm real in my process, so you can learn that in your business, you're gonna find people like me. You're gonna find people like Smith. You're gonna find people like all of us. You have to do your very best to remove yourself out the equation, all right? Still use yourself to understand that's how that person is. Let me learn to work with that person based on how they are. And then, because I'm still working on me, but I'm learning to work with me on how I work with a person like Smith, how I work with a person like Corey Mims, how I work with a person like Coach Catherine, how I work with a person like Catrice, how I work with a person like Pretty Face Passion over there, the esthetician. Did I say that word right? See, how I work with people like Peggy Saunders. I've learned, and I'm gonna teach you as we go deeper into this, a lot of things that I spent a lot of money for is learning human development, the psychology of people, learning to help people overcome self-imposed limitations, identifying what people are. Listen, I'm no pastor. I'm none of that stuff right there. I don't claim to be this perfect person. So therefore, when things happen, it's a shock of imperfection. We're all in our process of practicing to be the very best that we can be in the lane that we sit in, Peggy. I do my very best to be who I am. Is it always going to be right? Who's to say what's right? We just know we're going to do our very best. Who I am today is not the same. I'm a grandfather as well as still a father, but I'm not the person that I was when I was with my kids. I have more patience with my grandchildren than I did when I had my children. Sometimes I battle with resentment because I would be short-natured and mad and sit your behind down and punk them and do all type of stuff. Later on, I'm learning that that's just how they're learning. They're going to be inquisitive. They're going to want to learn things. But as time goes on, I've learned to learn how I work with them. I go pick up my granddaughter now from school like I did today. For an hour drive back, she talking the whole time. Back in the day, I'd be like, just shut your damn mouth. But now I'd be like, right. You really? But then, and then what I'm gonna do, and we're gonna do this right here, and seaweed come from this right here in the sea. I'm like, does it? It does, yeah, and the seaweed, and then what's it does? Because the sea, it goes in the sea. I'm like, okay, and I just learned to because that was me learning to be the better version of myself. You know what I mean? Because back in days, I'd have been like, I ain't got no time for this right here. Shut your mouth. You know what I'm saying? But I had to learn that you have to learn to work with people. You know what I'm saying? This stuff is a real thing. This is why when you start working with people, you'll get better at you have a group dynamic conversation where you're coaching groups, write that down, and you coach as individuals. I'll have a group dynamics coaching call. I have a team dynamic coaching call. I have an individual dynamic coaching call. They're all different. The guys did a coaching call with Maria Watson and her group right before this call. So it was a scheduled call. We spent about an hour talking about certain things as they're in position and getting themselves ready. Earlier today, I had another call with another young lady. There was two of us on the call. I had another individual call, Mr. Smith, and another gentleman today. I'm saying, so sometimes it's a group call, sometimes individuals, but the thing is this, I've learned to speak the way I'm speaking because I've learned to identify that these are ways we have to be better for ourselves to be working with individuals. When I'm speaking with the young lady today, who may be on a call now, but as I was speaking with her today, she's in the business, but the conversation was so she can feel safe and feel and see that she got somebody who's wanting to work with her and be around. Because based off of what they told me she used to do, she was in this industry, other things happening. I know as a leader how to speak to her in a leadership tonality, in a leadership conversation. By the time I was done, the first thing she was like telling me, I just want to say thank you so much because this call is what I needed. Now, if it would have been a group call, she may not have got the same thing. But the individual call was allowing me to have a different level of conversation. I need everybody on this call to understand it's not just in this, it's when you're working with the people in the world. The individual people you're looking to talk to, stop looking to always try to get them on the group call because they may miss it. You get them on a private call, they'll hear you differently. You got to just trust that you are the leaders that we've coached you to be, that I taught you to be. We coach you on what to say. The rest of the leadership stuff, just knowing that listen, you got to just know that you're going to make it work. You're not going to always know what to do next. It's like having kids. You just don't know. You're trying your best. You're just trying your best when you have kids, right, Peggy? We have to figure stuff out. We try to give all our kids the same information. Like, how could this one get it right? This one get it wrong. I'm giving the same stuff. But all you can do is do your very best. All we can do, guys, is give our very best. Don't worry about don't think to yourself that there probably is going to probably be the wrong thing. Just know that if you're a mother, I'm gonna lead my children. I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do to make sure they're okay. That's the thing about a mother. You're gonna figure it out. You're gonna find a way to make sure they're safe. When I'm talking to people, all I'm doing is find a way to make sure they feel that they're safe. That's why I speak the way I speak when I'm talking to individuals. This call is designed for you guys to have, when it comes to leadership mastery, is knowing that when we start to have these conversations, guys, you have to be willing to be wanting to speak and to be a person that's willing to let your voice be heard. Am I making sense? You can't hide behind the scenes. You can't hide behind this stuff. You have to be willing to get out here because your family deserves it. They deserve you accomplishing the dreams and the goals that you say you're going to accomplish. Your mother deserves to see you win. Your father deserves to see you. If they've passed on like my mother did, they still see you. You got to believe in something. That's what I believe in. If you don't believe in that, that's fine. But that's what I have to believe in. I have to believe that when I'm doing stuff, or the picture that's back there with my brother over there, something that's under there that passed. I got to believe that when I'm doing stuff with his daughter, that he still see me. That when I'm doing this work that I'm doing to earn income, I just texting them a little while ago and stuff. She's like, Uncle, I need this for school. Can you help me get this? I'm like, yes, I got you. You know why I was getting busy? Because I knew school was coming. If I had not done this, because they asked me for help at the end of the school time, and I couldn't help because I was in a spiral. And I said, I cannot let them go back into school, and I can't help her. you got to find something that's going to drive you to get yourself out your daggone head and be willing to do the work that's necessary in order for you to succeed. Are you guys with me? Are you guys with me? Write this down. Let's talk about 5 anchors of leadership. All right. Let's talk about these 5 anchors of leadership. All right. Inside leadership, write down. Let's write it down first and we'll talk about it. Vision. The first anchor of leadership is vision. The second anchor of leadership is directing. The third anchor of leadership is persuasion. The fourth anchor of leadership is environment. The fifth anchor of leadership is empowerment for multiplication. Vision, directing, persuasion, environment, empowerment for multiplication. Now, the reason why I give that, that's me learning myself, right? Knowing I'm a person who can be forgetful. I've learned, let me just give it to you. So if you're a person who may sometimes be challenging, learn that when you start getting good at doing what you're doing, just give the 5 and then you can go back and talk about the 5 you have to. Sometimes if you're a person, you can remember one at a time. For instance, like the company wants me to be a speaker at this next event, right? Now that's a win for our group. I didn't ask to do that. They just hit me up and was like, yo, at this next event, we need you to be a speaker, a keynote speaker at the event. I'm like, yo, that's dope for the group. But that's because how I've been showing up with the intention to lead, that they see that I'm worthy of leading. Because when you're speaking at that level, you're not just leading your personal group, you're leading the entire company. But you know who they're asking to do that? They're asking us. When they're asking me to do that, they're asking us to do that. As I'm looking at all you guys, that's an us thing. But what happens is this. From that moment, we keep pushing and pulling each other up. The next moment will be your moment, Patricia. Then your moment, Peggy. Your moment, Carla. All the things that I coach you on and teach you on is so when it's your moment, you can rise to the occasion, Val, Jaleesa. I don't do this because I want you to be an underling. You're my partners. I teach you and coach you to do what I do or even do better than what I do. I promise you, I give you everything. I don't hold it, outside of the leadership stuff, that's only at the next, because each level of leadership requires another level of coaching and how you speak and things that you give. So certain things are reserved only at this next level of leadership for people to get there. But I give you where you are based off of how because right now, we all have to get ourselves good fast because the masses are coming. And we all have to lead the masses. We all have to lead the children that's coming up behind us. So you're gonna have to be like that family unit person where you the kid that had to grow up fast to help take care of your brothers and sisters. Write this down. Vision is looking at the same sunrise with a different set of glasses. We're talking about the first one to talk about vision. Vision is looking at the same sunrise with a different set of glasses. We all can see the same thing, but don't see the same thing. We all see the sunrise, but some people may go, oh my God, that sunrise is so amazing. I'm like, wasn't it? Some people, yeah, the way the orange just set, or the way it was just hovering just above the water, or the way the water was glistening. Everybody can say something different. We all be like, oh, it was amazing. But everybody's looking at the same sunrise with a different set of glasses. Or a different set of lenses. You may see blue, see green, see yellow. Everybody sees it differently. We're looking at the same thing, but we're still looking at the same sunrise. Our job is to understand that people write this down, they have a different vision and version of leadership. They have a different vision and version of leadership. Our job is to attach our vision and version of leadership to their vision and version of leadership. And through your coaching, your mentorship, your guidance, your leadership, you pull their vision and version of leadership closer to your vision and version of leadership. That's what your job is. So when we're doing these talks, it's designed to align everybody's vision up together. And then through conversation, we talk, and I pull your vision and version of leadership up to where I'm at. And then we see this, we move in that same direction. And I need to make sure that when we're on these calls, you know that your vision and version leadership is where it is based off of your own experiences in life. So because one of the things we're talking about with the environment, we'll get that in a little bit. That's the reason why we create this environment, so that everybody's visions, everybody's version of leadership rises. We teach in one of these books back here, 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. The law of the lid is what, Mr. Smith? The law of the lid. What's your
my interpretation of the law of the lid is that if your ability to lead people is if your level of leadership is a 5, then your ability to lead people can only be a 4. So there's a lid on your ability to lead people. So you have to grow constantly. And a lot of times what happens, Mr. Scott, is we want to attract the 10s in our business, but our level of leadership is only a 4. So in order to attract more kind of, I guess you want to say qualified or high level people, we have to raise our own lid up there, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And you guys clear with that? It's 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership is one of my books that I have out by John C. Maxwell. As one of the first books that I was reading when it comes to leadership. We had even the 5 anchors of leadership. It came from a gentleman that took me and Mr. Smith under the wings, and his name was Doug Fireball. And Doug took us under the wings. He said, "Listen, you guys are unique." There you go. I'm saying that's a book he recommended, or the Leadership Challenge. That's it right there. The Leadership. See, mine's all faded. No, I didn't read it and carried it with me for so many years. It's the book I have on the end over there at the top. Is all it's Doug, he recommended that book to us years ago. And he took us under the wing, the way I'm taking you guys under the wing. And he said, listen, he said, people normally spend about $20,000 a month for me to coach their groups and their teams. And he said, I'm gonna teach you guys and coach you guys for free. He said, but this is the deal. We're gonna have a call every week. He said, the first time you guys miss that call, it's a wrap. It's a done deal. Sometimes, Junior, we would get on that call, and Doug, we get on that call, and Doug on the call at the time, we have a whole hour of conversation time. As time went on that call, me and Smith log on the call, me, Smith, other gentleman, we on the call. He said, get on the call at 6 o'clock, it's 6, then it's 6:15, it's 6:20, and 6:30, 6:40. We still like, just waiting. He'd hop on 6:45, drop 5 or 10 minutes or something, he off. But for 45 minutes, I'm like, I'm not like, oh, what the? But let me tell you, that taught me patience. It gave me something that I learned to pay attention to how I did myself. Write that down. Pay attention to how you do you. One of my things that I coach people on is pay attention to how you do you. That means how you show up in a moment. When something happens, you may panic. Something happens, you quickly lose but everything is training. It's all training, and it's all shows up. Like I was on the call earlier, Maria, right? I told Maria's group, I said, I used to coach Anne-Marie Murrow on everybody's inclusive, no matter who it is. Because the first time we started going to events in Trinidad and Tobago with another company, we were trying to show up to the event, and people was like, it wasn't Maria's group, it was another group. They was like, you can't come to the group. It's only for our team. And I'm like, but I'm like doing what I'm doing. I'm inviting other people just to come because I know it's an event. Go to the event, be inspired. They're like, no, who's your leader? No, you can't come to the group. So I was like, okay. And when she told me, I said, don't worry about it. I said, some people they haven't been trained the way I've been trained. I said, we're not going to live that way. We're not going to do it that way. We're going to still keep it open for anybody and everybody. So when we started, I said, they don't know you yet. They just thinking they don't know. Whatever it is, I can't say it. I'm not mad at it. It's what it is. So I said, let's just start the build. And I started building. I said, I built it. And I started coming to Trinidad and Tobago. I said, listen, let everybody know that I'm going to come. I don't care if they groups it or not. Let them all know. Matter of fact, they can come and they can be speaking on the stage with us. They can be showing up with it. Tell them to bring their group, and I want them to participate with us because I want everybody to feel inclusive. Because I recognize that people in life, especially people who look like myself, we've been taught not to come together. It's a thing around the world. I travel the world. Some people never travel outside the U.S. I see it everywhere. Everywhere that I see my people that look like me, they've been taught a lot of not to come together, because it was when Latinos know each other, they could be from different countries, Walter Smith, and they'd be proud of their country. But when they go to an event and they say, where my Latinos at? They all, here we are. Si se puede. They don't care if you, whatever. It's like New Yorkers. In New York, I'm from Brooklyn, I'm from the Bronx, whatever. When you leave, where you from? New York, or from the Bronx? Brooklyn, we from New York. Hold on a second, I ain't ready. Hold on. Y'all think it's a game. Hold on a second. Give me a second right here. I'm from New York. Concrete jungle, trees are made. See, when you come from New York, we all get excited that we just from New York. You got me? So I just was like, yo, make sure everybody feels inclusive so that they can just know we all in the same game. We all in the same stuff. So when I'm working, I want everybody to experience the right environment for growth for everybody. Because I know that the excitement and energy that we all create, guests don't know. They just want to be a part of the right energy. Because out here in the world, everybody gets so many no's, so many people hating on them, that every time they post and tag, they talk about all the hate, all the this, that's what they're getting every day. So we let's create another environment of people here. Mr. Smith, you had your hand up earlier for something you want to better share?
Well, I don't want to throw you off track, but one of the things you were talking about with Mr. Fireball in the lesson that it learned, that lesson that they had is the humility part. Recognize there's something that you don't have. This gentleman had done over $1 billion in sales in his organization. And it's kind of funny now how people just get so quick just to quit. That gentleman has something that we wanted, and it didn't matter. All we knew is that we couldn't miss a call. So we weren't waiting 5 minutes for the teacher not to show up. As long as it took for him to get on the call, we were getting on the call because he had something that we wanted.
Yep, exactly. And that's why when he went through that, when he said it, he went through the anchors of leadership, and then he said it. And I'm looking at the notes. He said, looking at the same sunrise with a different set of eyes. When he wrote that, when he said that, he said it. And I think he gave the thing, but then he said something that, and to me, I wrote down what he said. Smith, I'm sure, wrote down something else he said. Because when we all hear the same thing, we all hear it differently. That's why sometimes me and Smith will have the same conversation. Sometimes we say the same thing. Other times I'll be like, yo, that was dope. Where'd you get that from? He's like, I got it from that training. I'm like, I ain't hear that. He actually, where you get that from? I'm like, yo, I got it from that training. I'm like, I ain't hear that, because everybody have a different vision and version of leadership. So when you're hearing the calls, information, some of you guys on this call is like, whatever. But some of you guys, I promise you, I'm talking to you in such a way for you to understand that since I've been involved in this company, I'm like right close to like $75,000 in income earned in the last couple of months. I'm not giving you something that's hype. I'm giving you from a person who started off $0 in the bank. I had to make this thing work. I got busy because my family required me to have a level of belief. I understood these anchors of leadership, that one is vision, and vision, you have to, everybody must speak the vision. They have to speak it, have to believe in it together, but they believe you first. And then you'll attach other, everybody won't believe at the same time, only a few at a time. When it comes to directing, there's two things, right? Directing is a function of the heart. Write that down. When I learned this a long time, directing is like a function of the heart. So there's a difference between direction, and dictation. Some people like to try to dictate to people, and you can't be a dictator. You can provide the direction. Like I don't dictate to you to get on the call or other stuff. I'll say, hey guys, I recommend you get on the call. I'm starting the calls right here, because as a leader, I'm going to direct you to it. Like you said, lead the horse. Let the horse do what they want to do. They want to drink, they drink. I'm gonna lead you there. If you don't want to drink, because after we leave here, horse, we got to start walking again. If you don't hydrate yourself, you're not going to be hydrated for the next piece of the next part of the walk. Our job is just lead them there. Once they lead them there, but through directing, they have to do what they got to do, but we can't dictate to people. Many times we dictate and we think that because we say a thing, a person must do a thing or they better do a thing. We can't dictate to people, but we can provide direction. When you provide direction and it's from your heart. So when you going from your head, man, they ain't doing what I said to do. Don't dictate. Just provide direction. Hey guys, I recommend this. I recommend you show up over here. I recommend you get on the call. My recommendation to you is this. Once I provide the recommendation that people don't want to do, I'm like, all right, because write this down. Write this down. Anytime it's not okay with them, it's okay with you. Anytime it's not okay with them, well, I don't like when nobody. Okay, good. You got to protect your peace. I don't like me. Okay, great. Well, I don't feel like doing that. It's not a problem. All right, just let me know when you're ready. That means anytime it's not okay with them, it's okay with you. That means be okay with people wanting to do what they want to do. Don't let yourself lose yourself, because again, if you want to dictate to people, you get mad when they don't do the things you want them to do. But I recognize that there's people in different levels of growth, and some people they show up based off of life situations, challenges, environments, relationships they've been involved in, trust issues, trust stuff. They come to the table, and sometimes it takes a while before people start to believe and come together in a certain way. Am I making sense? So because of it, I just learned, I've removed myself so I don't slow myself down. 3 is persuasion. Under persuasion, put this down. Put down influence, charisma, magnetism. So all the things are part of persuasion. Persuasion is like influence. Influence, having a certain level of charisma, magnetism, all these things that when you're persuading somebody, right? Like when people start thinking they got to sell people, it's not really your selling, but it is like part of your persuasion is how much you believe. When you believe a thing a certain type of way, you persuade people to believe in what you believe based on, because they be like, man, she's serious about this thing. She really seems like she knows what she's talking about. Because you do know most of the time when you're looking on social media, people just saying the craziest thing and people believe it. They ain't researching it. They didn't been persuaded by somebody else that they don't know what they're talking about. And everybody's a guru. Everybody got this. Everybody doing a podcast or stuff. Everybody's talking and trained, and they're building a whole group of followers just based off of just their opinion on stuff. Not because they did something in the world, they built a business or proven something. They just started talking based off of how they feel, and they was how they feel and what they believe. And people was like, you know what, you're right. Makes sense to me. Then they start now they joining their podcast. Now they spending money for their podcast. Now they following them everywhere because the person, but they was persuasive. Have a level of charisma in how you flow, how you're speaking, how you're showing up. Your belief is charisma to people. Charismatic in how you show up, because if you believe a certain type of way, you have a charisma about yourself. But I need to make sure that when you're in this persuasion, don't doubt yourself. It's not about being cocky, like to the point to where you're snooty and things like that. You just got to have a level of belief that you know that your belief is strong enough that it will magnetize other people to you. They'll want to be a part of you. Influence is getting people to do what you want them to do because they want to do it. Not because you make them do it. Influence is getting people to do what you want them to do because they want to do it. When I understood that meant when you have a level of influence, I can't make you do it, but influence getting people, because you want them to do it anyway. But when you understand, everybody on this call, we have a voluntary army. We can't make people show up. People volunteer to show up at 9 o'clock on a Wednesday night. Some people log on, some people log off. Some people log off because they got stuff going on. Others just log off just because they feel this ain't what they want to hear right now, because they're looking for something else. But I just told you, most people on this call, you want to earn, you in business, you want to earn income. I told you how much money I made, not because I want to be impressive to you, because as soon as I get that, my responsibility is about $20-something thousand a month of income, minimum. Then between that and me trying to take care of my health with another $20-something thousand, that could be gone quick. You got me? But I'm working, but I'm saying to you, because for some else in this call, $75,000 right now, probably been more than somebody made all day at their job. It can take care of a whole lot more than what you guys can do. You can have money in the bank. You can take care of your family. That's why I tell it to you. I don't tell it to you because I want you to be impressive. The thing, listen, any one of you guys can make 100,000, like 75,000 next month. Some of you guys by the end of this year can make more money than me and 5 or 6 of us combined. And this is the real thing. I pray that for your family. If that's what you see for yourself, I pray that happens for you for real. I'm not going to try to hold you back. I'm going to do all I can to help you succeed. That's what we're here for. Because number 4 is environment. Environment will grow your leadership or stifle it. You guys, I've said that many times on the call. That's because I got that from Doug when I learned a long time ago. The environment will grow your leadership or stifle it. So if the environment if it's conducive for success and growth, like this call, this is a personal development call. This personal development call will help awaken new things, but also on a deeper level, on a mind level. And me speaking the way I speak helps to create new neurons, helps to start the things to start to fire in you. When you start thinking a certain way, you start to do a thing based on what we talk about. It creates another connection in your brain. The more you do the thing, it strengthens the connection where it becomes habit. But when I introduce you to the thing, I introduce you to it because it becomes an awareness. And when the first connection happened, it's a thin connection. That's why sometimes somebody can give you a thing that connects, you'll kind of remember it, but if you don't use it, you forget it quickly. But the more you do it, it strengthens. This is a real physiological thing that happens in the brain for real. Because I understand it is why I'll say the same thing over and over and over, which is why I'll say, you say it again. I have you guys say the same thing to me over and over and over. That's why I keep saying, right? That's why I say it, because I look for you to say it, speak it, so your brain makes the connection. Then I get you to say it again over and over, so it becomes so strong that when it's time for you to speak without thinking about it, it just fires off and it just comes off. And later on, your people be like, yo, you sound like Mr. Scott when you was talking. You sound like this person. You sound like Walter Smith when you talking. Because when you hear Smith, if you listen to all of our mentors and coaches, we sound a lot like them. We used to study them, and we sound a lot like a lot of them. Except for the fact that I stutter, I stammer. My tongue gets tied at times, so certain words I can't. That's why I said, what is it? Is it esthetician? Pretty face passions, esthetician. Sometimes I get it right, sometimes I don't. It's what it is. You got me? But I don't let it stop me from believing that you understand what I'm saying. People can read it. I just trust that I'm still going to do what I do. You got me? And the thing is this, when you learn to stop thinking that everything got to be right, and the environment that you have will grow the leadership of other people because they see they can be themselves. It'll teach your people to start to want to join in the experience of it. The environment will create an experience. The experience creates something that happens on a cellular level that becomes a part of your digital DNA. It becomes a part of who you are for real, that you live in. So this environment that we have is to grow your leadership, not stifle it. 5 is empowerment. Empowerment for multiplication. Leadership math in network marketing, a home-based business, is not 1 + 1 + 1. Leadership math can go, you then got 2 turn into 9, 9 turns into 24, 24 turns into 100. These numbers can multiply crazy and exponentially. Not just the people joining, but your income. But the thing about the empowerment is simply enabling other people to act upon. That's what I teach. Empowerment is simply enabling other people to act upon that which they already know that they're truly destined for something great. That's what I always say. But empowerment is just giving you, I've empowered you. That means I've given you things to do that you know to do. And now that you know what to do, you've been empowered. You teach your family, your children to do stuff so that you empower them to go do. Once they do it, you know what to do. Your job will hire you. They'll teach you what to do. They will empower you to go do the work on your own. So when they walk off, the work still gets done. When we come here, the duplication stuff, that the systems, go to Team Unity training is so that you can be empowered to know what to do. Reason why I teach the 4 steps, because that's how I made the money I made. In those 4 steps, that's exactly how I made it. All the other stuff you think that it is, listen, I promise you more. You guys have, if you look at my timeline All of you probably posted 1,000 times more than I posted. It ain't the posting. That's a part of what we do. But I be in these private calls, private Zooms, meeting people, doing calls. That's why my money is stronger, because I just don't be posting and waiting to see. I communicate. We get paid to communicate. So I can meet me on Zoom, meet me on Zoom, meet me on Zoom, have a conversation. Listen, you can just a one-on-one conversation. Hey, meet me on Zoom, and make some coffee and meet me on Zoom. Let's have a conversation. And you and the person that's a prospect, meet them on Zoom. And then what I be doing when I get here, all I do is, if they've been experiencing this network marketing thing, I easily just be like, hey, let me share with you. Let me share this with you here. Let me share this. Let me see. I may share the presentation. You guys got the presentation, and after I have a conversation and ask them what they want out of life, then I just know I can read this stuff. The thing about the presentation is, when I'm talking to you guys, the reason why I created this so I can stay on point. Because without it, I'm lost and I'm off track. So that's why I created this compensation plan, so I can stay on track. All right. Actually, I didn't create it. One of my leaders, she put it together. She's out of France. I asked her to put it together, and then Juju came back and made sure. So thanks. So everybody on the call, just say, now I just say, that's Julissa in there. Thank you, Juju. Thank you, Ju. Appreciate you, girl. Yeah, girl. I appreciate you. Ju, thank you. All right. So we got that right there. Then we understand also that people need to understand the compensation plan with some of them once they join. So I make sure that I start going through the compensation plan for people to understand how to make money. Once I'm normally doing that, guys, between me asking questions first, like, what is it that you want out of life? What is it you have going on? I always ask questions about them first. As you start to wrap up the call, just learn to write this down. The quality of your life will be determined by the quality of the questions you learn to ask. Write that down. The quality of your life will be determined by the quality of the questions you learn to ask. Learn to ask quality questions. And the question just be asking, like when most of you guys get me on a three-way call, you ever give me a three-way val and be amazed at some of the stuff that I say to people? You know, I know, because at the end, you'd be like, yo, that was good. That's all it is. I be asking questions. And when I ask questions, they'll give me an answer. And from the answer, I'll write down 2 or 3 other questions that I can have, that I'll ask another question. And I get to the deeper reasons and things that they want to do. And then based upon how I'm asking the questions, like when you and I talk, remember Coach Catherine, when I asked you the other day, what you do? Remember I asked you those questions, and I was like, listen, let me tell you what these are the things of how you can do. Which I said, me and Nikki was talking. Nikki was telling me what you did. I called you and I asked you more. I said, tell me more specifically what you do with what are you doing? You told me what you do with your clients. I said, this is what I recommend. This is what you can do. This is how I do with my clients. By the time I was done, you was like this. You know how you felt empowered, and you was like this. You give us a thing to think about. I can tell you over here like this. Even though I can see you like this. You know what I'm saying? Because I empowered you by asking you questions. Did I not? I asked you questions. From the questions, I was able to give you some direction. I didn't dictate. I gave you some direction. I empowered you. After that, you had some ideas. That's all it is. So when you learn to ask questions, guys, just ask simple questions. When you know what a person do, you ask these questions. You can know. When they tell me what do you do when you do that? Because this deal, as I wrap up the call, everything that somebody does in their life can somehow be incorporated into that. If what they do in business or job, whatever. And let's say a person been a nurse, like some people, I've been a nurse for so long. So you do what I do. You've been taking care of people. Or I'm a teacher. You do what I do. You've been taking care of people. Or I'm in construction. Or I construct too. You do what I do. We ain't both in construction. I construct people like you construct buildings. I'm gonna teach you how to construct people the way you construct buildings. It's all the same stuff. Whatever somebody do, I understand what they have going on. Whether you're helping people, whether you're working with people, so when I do this stuff, I just have the conversations. So now they go, oh, I can see that. And once they see it, they can believe that they can do this. That's it. You're asking questions so you can know how to talk about the vision, direct them, be persuasive and have some level of influence. I'm saying, talk about the environment, the leadership. That's why I talk about unity, the environment. I talk about the system, team unity training, because that's empowerment. All that stuff is how I make money. I just gave it to you. That's why those are anchors of leadership that I use when I'm communicating with people. And I just gave it to you guys on the call tonight. Do I have any leaders that's on the call that have any comments, statement, anything they want to share before we done with the call?
And Mr. Scott, I'm trying to give somebody else an opportunity to speak, but I just want to just say I appreciate you dropping these nuggets. And I just also want to encourage a lot of people, because one of the things that I hope you agree, and I know you do, is that we've gotten away in the industry from teaching network marketing. We teach people how to get in real quick, how to get some people of influence, which everybody can't do. The majority of people on your team are going to be people who have full-time jobs that do this part-time, and understanding how to lead these people is so important in this industry. We have a tendency to watch all this social media. Most of it's fake anyway. The people who have a large sense of influence, that works, but it doesn't always duplicate. So learning how from the ground root to lead people, how do you become a better leader? Not only is it going to help you in your network marketing business, but it's going to transfer into other things. The person that I am today, I wasn't the same person years ago. I could only work with one type of person. And when you started talking and you got 1, 2, 3 and started going to 6, 7, I was done. Mentally, I couldn't even keep, I would just be frustrated. If you started talking too much and I want to trail into the movie, I don't need the whole movie. Get to the point. I was frustrated, but I had to learn as a leader how to be a different leader, because there's 4 different personality traits that each one of us have, and one of them is dominant. And if you don't learn how to work with those people, you'll never grow a big organization. So I just thank you for taking time to really get down into these things that are going to help us and help everybody else become a great leader. And when you're a great leader, you can lead a large organization better. So thank you, sir.
Indeed, I appreciate that, brother. And I'm gonna tell you, I see everybody's numbers in my personal organization. I see the numbers, and the thing is this, I can see each week, each month, I've been seeing another core group of people starting to grow. No, I can see it because I know that I'm developing leaders. Sometimes it may take, like I came out the gate to put a bunch of people in, but now I've been spending the last weeks building leaders and working with groups of people, because I know that as time goes on, that's going to be so solid to have everybody working with their individual groups, and now they're masterful. Because I'm giving you notebooks worth of stuff. I got notebooks all around me, everywhere. Notebooks and books and books that I'm always writing stuff in. Sometimes I didn't wrote stuff, they didn't fell apart. Stuff falling apart. I'm in notebooks notebook. I'm in my notebooks so much they be ripping up, falling apart, tearing apart. Listen. They be ripping up, tearing apart, falling apart, because I'm always going through. I got notes and notes and notes, and I use them so much to go through stuff that I'm giving you everything that I have. I'm giving it to you so you can lead your families. True. But once this thing starts to build out, and Mr. Smith said, and you guys understand this business is about leadership, all the other stuff is going to happen. This leadership stuff, when you guys, the better you get as a leader, man, there's things for people, they just want to know that they're going to be okay. They want to know that when they get involved with somebody's going to be able to help them recoup their investment, and going to be there to help them. And when they can see that in you, your confidence, your persuasion, the environment you got with your group, and they're like, I like this group. I like the way you talk, and they want to be a part of that. And my job to teach you guys how to maximize that. Who is next? Thanks, Ms. Smith. I appreciate that, brother.
Hey, hey, this is Val.
Oh,
Mrs. Scott.
okay. Well,
I'm sorry.
everybody trying to go at one time.
Well, that's what I want. Because I was letting it do that because that's what I want. I want because at the court, everybody should be jumping out. Everybody won't always have to get to speak. But everybody should be exercising their right to be able to speak. That's what we do. You got me? That's why I'm looking for leaders to jump out and speak, because that's what your team needs to see you're speaking. The world, God needs to see that you're doing your best to be out, because you can't. To get the people, when the people come, you got to be willing to be able to, you got to know what to say. So Val, go ahead, young lady.
Well, Mr. Scott, first I wanted to really just thank you for the leader that you are, because really what we're getting tonight, nobody else is teaching this. And this is real. This is something that we can feed our families with. Mr. Scott said from the beginning, from 7 years ago when I first met him, he said, I develop leaders. And I wasn't a leader at the time, right? But it was something in me that sparked that I heard that, okay? And so that's why you guys are on here tonight, because each and every one of you, I don't care if you just signed up an hour ago, You are a leader, and he is speaking to the leader that is inside of you. And baby, get ready to develop. And this unity is a wonderful ground to grow and to lead and to develop. And you can be who you are. You don't have to be like anybody else you see out there. You can be you because, baby, you got it. And I thank you again, Mr. Scott. I thank you for being the leader that you are. I thank you. Back to you.
I appreciate you, lady. Thank you so much for sharing that as well. Appreciate that. Ms. Nikki Alexandria?
Yeah, so I want to be really, really quick. And one of the things, guys, you know, that I learned from Mr. Scott, that always stuck out to me, okay? You know, he's been coaching me for a very, very long time. And there's certain things that always stand out. And one of the things that I always remember is he said, if you build yourself, you can build the people, and the people will build the business, okay? So I want everybody to write that down. Build yourself, then you can build people, and then the people will build the business. Network marketing is just a lot of people doing a little bit of work, but the work is going to start with you first, right? And I know that sometimes we be lifing, okay? We be adulting, things happen, things come up, situations in our lives, you know, it kind of throws us off a little bit. But I'm telling you, this personal development is so real, guys. You have to make sure that every single day that you are pouring into the most important person in the world, which is you. Everything is going to start with you. Everything is going to start with me, because I'm talking to you, but I'm talking to myself at the same time. Everything is going to start with us, okay? It's going to start with you. It's going to trickle down to the people that are connected to you. And once it trickles down, guys, you are going to see something explosive started to happen in your business, right? And just know that we're at the very beginning, right? We just at the very beginning. So the more that we pour into ourselves, I'm telling you, it's going to change the dynamic of how you interact with people, how you're able to interact with your team. And from there, your team, we building the business. So with that being said, Mr. Jason L. Scott, the first millionaire mentor himself, I'm going to turn the call back over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, lady. I appreciate you for just sharing that as well. Appreciate you so much. Thank you for that. Peggy Saunders?
Yes, Mr. Scott, I just want to thank you for just putting things out there and always being consistent with everything that you've done, even Mr. Walter A. Smith as well. But the one thing that I wanted to mention that really has helped me, and I know you've taught me years ago, but to be able to listen clearly. And I love the way when you're doing the interviewing process, you pull out so much more than what I could even get. And you know how to control the interview process. And that's real key. You know, because they'll try to take you one way, but you'll always steer it back in a very positive way. So I'm learning that. I know how to form, but just listening to that, I mean, you did a powerful call the other day that just blew me away. And I've still been talking about it. But guess what? You control the atmosphere. And I thank you so much for doing that. And I'm learning. And guess what? Put me in the game.
No doubt, no doubt. Appreciate you. Thank you so much, guys. And as we wrap up the call, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Ms. Peggy Saunders. That means a lot. And guys, and that's where, as we're in the call, guys, I want everybody to know when we say do three-way calls, it's coaching. You're learning how I connect with people, how I speak to people. You're learning how I ask questions and get to something. And sometimes I'll be speaking fast, other times I'll be speaking slow, because I'll be dealing with the person and the personality and how I hear how somebody starts the conversation. I'll calm myself down on my energy, or but I teach all these things. And when I'm speaking, a lot of times when I'm done, I'm like, what did you learn from that call? And then I help you understand the dynamics of what I was doing and why I was asking, so you can learn. Like I said, that's the reason why I say do three-way calls. Three-way calls are just necessary, but it's a learning process. It's teaching you how to communicate, but it also teaches your person that they don't have to know everything. They can come to leadership. And as time goes on, we all know the answers. But you just got to just know that you're going to get better at this, guys. No matter what it's looking like in your business right now, no matter what it's looking like in economics, just know we're going to close out this month, right? We got 2 days left, a couple of days left, right? Close out this month. Hit your rank goal. Don't just look at your numbers and go, okay, I'm good. Don't be good at just you with your numbers being okay. Ensure, the reason I'm doing calls all day today, my numbers are doing very well. I'm making sure that other people can hit their numbers, because it's important to your families that you do that. So make sure, guys, that you believe in this process. If there's products you haven't gotten for yourself yet, just get some product, get more into the weight loss aspect of it. Do some videos with new products you got going on. We got so much stuff that you want to have it. You want to use it. People are going to buy a bunch of stuff from you. I've been posting random things and people buying stuff. Just so much stuff that we got that you could do a video with, and people are going to be, what's that? And they're going to click the link. So but have some stuff that you can use. So if you haven't gotten some of the products, just get some more products, but also know that you can get that as a customer. So that way you make money back from it. Don't have to get it from yourself. Make a customer account and get it as a customer. All right, because you just do it and just trust it. Because in this company, you can get paid for that right there. But just know that as we close out this month, going into this last 30 days, make it a goal that all of you on this call, make it a goal. I don't care what it look like, don't matter. This is irrelevant. Expect the unexpected and expect exponential growth. Write that down. Expect exponential growth. Close out this month, giving it your last to the very last of the last of the last. Today is the end of the work week. No, Thursday is the end of the work week. Friday is the end of the work month. Don't get lazy. Close it out and just know you're only 2 months in. It's only been 2. All I asked for, you said 90 days. Well, it's only 3. Who can't do something 3 times? Anybody can do something. That's only 3. Well, you said 90 days. Yeah, it's only 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. We're only 2 months in. Give me 1 more month. Give me 1. Just give me 1. 1 month, this last month. Get busy. Let me say this to you because it's important. As we closing out this year, this is the time of the year where a lot of people start looking for this type of business. Now, COVID and things have shifted how the universe works around this time, but still, is this the time where it's going to get darker? Time zone's going to shift. People who've been spending money through the summertime and now kids are back in school, they're going to be at the house earlier thinking about these bills. They're going to be getting on calls. When cabin fever sets in and they can't be out to 9 o'clock at night because it's no longer hot outside, but it's cold at 4 o'clock. As soon as they get up for work, they're coming right to the house. Cabin fever sets in, they start getting on phone calls. They start getting on Zoom calls. They start wanting to know more about how they can make more money because those bills, while they're trying to watch TV and forget about them, is still sitting around. And they're going to start joining you. But you got to be in motion now, knowing it. You guys got me? I just gave you a caveat. You're doing it because I know what's happening right now. All the leaders on the call know what's happening, guys. We're well over our 10 o'clock time. I wanted to make sure that the other leaders had a chance to share, guys. No, we try to keep the call right at an hour's time, but it was just so important that you heard from other leaders other than myself on the call. And know, guys, that each and every one of you deserve the right to feed your family, and your voice is always welcome and heard. When I say with the leaders, everybody, until I get to the point where I start saying 50K and above, every individual, your voice matters. Okay, if you just got started, your voice matters. Speak your voice, speak into your universe, speak into yourself, Latanya, and own it. Always remember, given the sum total of all your decisions, you cannot change who you are, but given new life, new vision, new unity, you can change who you become. So right now, not tomorrow, next week, but like right now, let's all just become. You guys have a great and a powerful new you. Good night, everybody. And Mike should say good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Everybody.
Good night.
Thank you,
Bye.
Mrs. Scott.
Thank
Have a good
you.
night, everyone.
Good night.
Everyone.